Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Xbox Casuals, the Xbox podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deerigan. Alongside me, as always, the man who switched platforms, Josh Finney.
I not switch platforms. I will say my PS5 has gotten a lot more use in the last month than it has in the last probably year.
Yeah, that's fair.
I had to take the thick layer of dust off of it last year to play Spider-Man, and then I let it regather dust. But man, between Helldivers and Final Fantasy, that's where all my time's going right now.
Yeah, man. You think? You think Helldivers with a Halo skin on it would be fun, for Xbox, ODST style skin? I think, man. Wasn't there a rumor floating around out there that they pitched that kind of game out to at one point?
Supposedly,
a similar.
A former level designer at 343 said that they pitched 7 or 8 different types of Halo games to 343, and they were told no every single time. I have to wonder if that franchise mismanagement is part of why there were so many. I mean, we know franchise mismanagement is why there were changes there, but now I'm curious to know who was the one saying no to everything. Was it because Phil's been pretty clear he wants to be hands off with studios? That's one of the few that they had to step in and pretty much take direct control of, though, after the whole Craig debacle.
Yeah. So let's see. Bonnie Ross is gone. Kiku Wolfkill's in charge of the multimedia stuff, though, right? That would be.
I have no comment on that. Frankie's gone.
Yeah.
There was someone else who got let go. He got let go right as all the stuff. Chris Lee. That's what I'm thinking of. Chris Lee was the franchise producer. He got let go after the reveal of Infinite. Basically, they announced that he was leaving and that Joe Staten was coming in within 24 hours. So that's another big one. If I had to put money on it, I don't want to just assume, but I would assume that Chris and Bonnie and Frankie all had a hand in that. And it's entirely possible that this was pitched so long ago that maybe Microsoft themselves said no. I would imagine this probably came in the wake of Halo 5 not doing good. And them being well, what do we do with the franchise? Because Halo Wars 2 came out and didn't sell well, but is beloved by the fan base. And I still have friends who are discovering that game for the first time and playing it. Good for you. I don't personally like RTSs, especially on consoles, but you do you. The story was very good from everything that I've seen. But it's you have to grow your franchise some way. And I think making basically Firefight the game would have gone over really well. Now, if you do it, it's always going to be, you copied Helldivers too.
Yeah.
And plus, that game would be 4 years away.
Yeah.
But I do think having Firefight in Infinite does help a lot. It's just Infinite has a certain reputation at this point. The Halo franchise itself does not have a great reputation these days.
Yeah.
It's for those of us who grew up on Halo, we're always going to be fond of it. We're going to be oh man, new Halo's out. Hell yeah. The new generation does not give a fuck about Halo.
Nope.
They don't have the connection. They probably would if Master Chief Collection had actually been good when it launched. I'm still having to convince people that they fixed it 5 years ago.
Yeah. People still believe that the Xbox One was always had to be connected to the internet. Remember that?
I do remember that. Unfortunately, I blame the metric of it all for that one.
But
man, the Phil Harrison kiss of death, as we've come to call it, because let's see, that he ruined the PS3, the Xbox One, and Google Stadia didn't even have a chance.
Right.
So I can only hope that he's out of gaming forever now. Which is funny because he wasn't cursed until the PS3. He had actually been with Sony since they first started developing the PS1.
Yeah.
I think that's just like always going to be one of the funniest like little nuggets of trivia is like at some point he became cursed. So I'm choosing to believe that the Boomerang controller and the Spider-Man 2 ass font for the PS3 were both his fault.
Synergy, man.
Dude, he looked at a George Foreman grill and goes, "You know what a good console would look like? A George Foreman. A fat one."
Maybe he got real drunk or high one night and was cooking burgers, and he was like, "Man, you know, it'd be cool if the next PlayStation looked like this."
Dude, I think it's even simpler than that. I think he saw the episode of The Office where Michael steps on the grill and said that's what the PS3 Slim needs to look like.
Yeah, he steps on the grill, and then you see the Leonardo DiCaprio meme.
Pretty much
at the screen.
Oh, dude, it's so bad.
That's it.
Like, speaking of Sony, like what a very weird week. They've had just such a roller coaster 24 hours over there. Like, first we get the PS5 specs yesterday, and it's like, this thing sounds like an absolute monster. This sounds like what these consoles probably should have been at launch. Like, it actually sounds like a next generation machine.
Yeah.
And then you realize the price of the PS5 has never gone down. They're not going. They have publicly said they cannot lower the price on the PS5.
Yeah. Well, they raised it, and then they lowered it from the raised price.
Yeah. Like, well, like the digital one went up in price already. So it's just it's very funny to like see that, and it's like, oh, okay, so like, what are you going to price this thing at? Because like, if it's too expensive, like everyone's going to be like, fuck you, I'm buying like a Steam Deck instead. I might as well buy something where I can play different games.
Right
at that point, or fuck you, I'm gonna go buy a Series S, and like we don't know what the hell Microsoft is doing over there. Korea like raided some new piece of hardware today, apparently.
Oh, really?
So we'll see if they were lying about there not being. I cannot imagine them letting Sony have hardware dominance for like 3 years. That is that's like the kiss of death.
My thing is like either Xbox wasn't planning on it until they maybe heard that Sony might do it at some point. I mean, and I know.
It's funny that you see that because like the Sony PS5 Pro has been the worst kept secret for like the last 18 months.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like they probably got word of it like 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh, probably, yeah.
And they're like, after they said that, they're like, oh man, we're gonna backtrack on this so hard. Either that or like their next gen system is going to be more powerful than the PlayStation 6 Pro or 5 Pro.
I mean, it has to be more powerful than the 5 Pro, but it's like, are you gonna? The problem is like, because their next gen console at the earliest, the next Xbox is not arriving until Christmas 2026 at the absolute earliest.
Yeah, I would say later.
Are you? I personally, I have like Q3 2027 as my guess, because I think they want to launch it with Elder Scrolls, and with the only reason I could see them pushing for 26 is to try and launch it with the next Infinity Ward Call of Duty game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's currently slated for 2026 on the 4-year dev cycle. Yeah. But like, just how long are you going to keep that line going? Because they were parroting that line like as recently as last summer.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll see what happens, because like Sarah Bond even said in their video about the games coming to other consoles and like their future business plans that they had hardware announcements to announce. And like, if you just come out and are like, oh, here's a refreshed version of our controller with haptics and like the Elite Series 3, which is made just as shitty as the Elite Series 2, then that's not going to inspire confidence. Like, oh boy, that's what we've been waiting like 6 months to hear about. That was your announcement.
Yeah,
no, I gotta believe that there's an upgraded Series X Pro coming out or something. Like, put out the Pro, retire the S, the end. And then on the flip side of this, Sony's like, oh, all these specs are coming out. Like, not great for Sony the company for all this to be leaking. They're launching an investigation into it, and then Bloomberg pushes out an article overnight about how production on PSVR 2 has completely halted.
Yeah, I saw
because
that.
They can't sell any of these units. Who would have ever thought not releasing first-party games for a peripheral would cause your thing to not sell?
I don't know.
I would have thought it hasn't even been out for a year yet, Corey. We're still like a month off from this thing being a year old. And
I know.
Is that a new record? Is that a new record for a peripheral other than
Virtual Boy?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, that was also, like, supposed to be, like, its own console.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So, Like, in terms of, like, a peripheral, have we seen, like, something come out and be abandoned? So, other than, I would say the only other thing that comes to mind is the Xbox One Kinect. Because they were backtracking that son of a bitch before it even came out.
Yeah, but even that was, like, they didn't
It had, like, 5 games on it. When Kinect Sports Rivals is your most hyped up game, you went wrong somewhere along the way. I will say Harmonix really did try to make that thing work. They were the one studio that was bought in because the Fantasia game that came out, I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And Dance Central were both really good.
Mm-hmm.
I'll always wonder what, like, a Kinect Rock Band would have looked like with, like, the technology we have now.
Yeah.
I saw someone trying to say online the other day, like, oh, you know what should come back? Xbox should try and invest in Kinect. And I was like, nope, we're done. We're done. I'm not, that name is so tainted now.
Yeah. Yeah, for gamers though. But like the PC version of Kinect is still being used in like the medical field and stuff.
And that's fine. Like that's something like Microsoft can like go and I'm glad they found a use for the tech. I'll put it that way. But like in terms of like gaming, the Kinect is it's dead. It's dead. That's like the equivalent of saying PlayStation should bring back the iToy.
Yeah, why not? You don't want like 85 packs of cards to like unwrap.
9-year-old me thought that was the coolest fucking thing. The kid down the street had a PS2. I had the GameCube. And then we both got it. We both got 360s at the same time. I would go to his house to play Grand Theft Auto and play with the iToy. I thought the iToy was the coolest fucking thing. I didn't have anything like that. He would come to my house to play Smash Brothers, Double Dash, and Donkey Konga. Donkey Konga. Talk about peripherals that have been forgotten to time.
The Donkey Kong bongos?
The Donkey Kong bongos. Dude, listen, you haven't lived until you've been 9 years old playing all the small things on a set of bongos and, you know, singing about how work sucks. Because, you know, that's something that an adolescent knows about. I think it's very funny. Like when you look at like the peripherals that have been successful and that aren't in the current era, it's like people want customizable controllers. Like that's going to be successful. Like we saw the DualSense Edge has come out, and like it's like, oh, they finally have a first party answer to the Elite controller. It's like for every complaint I hear about the Elite controller, I have like 3 more people be like, man, this is like the best controller I've ever used. A lot of praise for the Scuff ones too. I know those are a bit pricey, but those have gone over really well. Have you seen the new Design Lab looks for the Fallout series?
Yeah, I have. They're pretty cool.
I really like that. I'm sorely tempted to finally get a Design Lab controller. I want to wait because I want to see if they announce the haptics. I'm going to buy one of those. I'm going to buy a custom controller with the haptics. Even though I don't like haptic triggers, like I just want my controller to have it if it's an option. So, anyways, I didn't mean to get off on a huge tangent about hardware here at the beginning, but it's been a very interesting day on the hardware front.
Yeah,
for multiple companies.
Man. Also, anybody looking for a ROG Ally Basic Edition, it permanently dropped
$399, right?
$399, yeah. So good on them, I guess. So, well, Josh, you playing anything besides Final Fantasy and Helldivers?
I'm not even playing much Helldivers right now. I'm pretty much like just foot fully down on the gas trying to get Final Fantasy done because I don't know if you heard there's a very busy Friday coming up that involves Dragon's Dogma 2, which has barged its way into the Game of the Year conversation already. Rise of the Ronin and Princess Peach Showtime.
Yeah.
Which I could not give less of a shit about.
All very similar games.
Yeah, all very similar good games.
All sword fighting magical experiences.
That's right. I am very excited for Dragon's Dogma though. It's either going to be like the best thing I've ever played, or I'm going to like throw my controller against the wall an hour or two. So
yeah. Well, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out if I have to talk about buying a new Xbox controller sooner than anticipated.
Yeah.
Well, and I am starting to dabble back in Destiny. I've wandered back to Destiny. I've taken a long enough break and like been playing like just bits and pieces here and there. I played a pretty solid amount over the weekend with some of our friends from our sister show, Tower Casuals. Played with our buddies Johnny and Joe. Went and ran some trials, which went terribly.
Yeah.
No, not great.
No lighthouse for you, Josh.
No lighthouse, but I do enjoy the increased rewards if you're playing with a full 3 stack.
Yeah, I saw a lot of good feedback on it on the changes.
There's a lot of really good feedback. I'll be honest.
Yeah, the only thing I saw that people were kind of complaining about, at least in the threads I was looking at, is like a lot of people that came down to the final match. It was decided by supers, and they, people kind of weren't into that.
Because it's not great
because of the secondary ammo changes, I think,
I really enjoy it personally.
Yeah, I mean that sounds like something I would enjoy, but also I'm not a hardcore Trials player, so.
No, I wouldn't say that I am either, but I do enjoy Trials personally.
Yeah.
When Trials is good, it's good.
Yeah.
So, and I mean that's kind of like any game mode, I guess. But when it's good, it's good.
When it's good, it's good.
When the going's good, the going's good. So, what are you playing, Corey? Other than Final Fantasy VII.
Really, honestly, it's really just been Final Fantasy VII, and I played Mario Kart with my kids this weekend, which was fun.
It's the OG Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
We should note for everybody.
Yeah. So that's kind of it. But I've been doubling up on a lot of content because of PAX this week and trying to get it all out and edited and packed and all that kind of stuff. So not a lot of gaming stuff, but basically just, what else? I played something else too. Oh, I played a little bit of Prince of Persia also. Just because I hadn't played.
I'm very excited. I have a copy on the way finally of Prince of Persia.
Which on Xbox?
Yeah.
I
have Prince of Persia, Dragon's Dogma, and Crisis Core all on the way right now.
Nice. Did you see the obscene PlayStation 5 version of Crisis Core prices?
I did. I feel like they stopped. I think they stopped printing it or something.
Yeah, like the PS4 version is cheap and the Switch version is cheap, and then you have to go on eBay and pay double the price for a PS5 copy of it.
Yeah, I'm really glad that I grabbed a copy for the Series X for $20 on Amazon last night.
Yeah,
I'm very excited to jump in and dive into that one.
Yeah.
I might have a new game to talk about next episode. Think I'm gonna grab Unicorn Overlord.
Yeah, I've heard good things.
The new Atlas game. And if we know anything about me, Corey, I really like games from Atlas.
I wasn't aware, Josh. I mean, I'm just kidding.
We were talking before the show and trying to figure out things that have happened since the last time that we met.
Yeah. Speaking of some, hold on, real quick. Breaking news, sort of, I guess, or maybe I'm just seeing it. Hold on, never mind. No, this is real. This seems real. Did you see that? It seems Triple H has been cast as the role of Kratos in the live action God of War movie.
No, I did not see that.
Let's see.
Where are you seeing that?
I just saw it on Twitter.
Because I'm not seeing it anywhere.
Maybe this is one of those fake accounts.
It's a fake account. I just saw it. I saw it. It's fake. Also, it's not a movie. It's a TV series. Amazon's making it.
Yeah,
that right away tells me it's not real. Yeah, no, I see it. I see it on one of those fake accounts.
God damn it, I got. I got.
You got. It's okay. It's okay.
Sorry, guys.
Also, I'm like 99% certain they're going to get Christopher Judge to do it.
What? Yeah. Well, are they though?
I'm 99% certain.
Are they not? Are they not doing the Greek stuff? Is this just
it's 2018 for sure.
That seems like a mistake.
I think they're gonna. Well, so I think it is too, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna do it in
flashbacks.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're gonna do it in flashbacks. This is what I was trying to think of. Corey, we've been away for so long.
I know, God,
that we almost forgot to talk about something big.
Oh, what? Oh no.
We've had an Xbox Partner Direct.
Yeah. Oh God, I forgot about
it. It's because it happened like a day after our last show.
That's true. That's right.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of Japan in that.
There was some very cool stuff. I have a list of things that were announced there. I'm going to fly through some of these real quickly. Just like kind of the highlights that I had. Sleight of Hand, which really cool. That's from Riff Raff. And it is a game in which that twists together a hard-boiled detective novel and witchcraft. You have to use stealth and magic to uncover why you were framed by your old coven. The Altars was one, which was kind of cool. You explore an alien planet, ensuring you stay safe from its deadly sunrises by creating alternative versions of yourself. So that looked kind of weird. Creatures of Ava is from 11-Bit Studios. It's being published by them at least. And that is from that is going to be a day one Game Pass game. And Rihanna Pratchett is helping write it, I believe.
Neat.
If you're unfamiliar with her, she helped write the recent Tomb Raider games.
Yeah.
So that one looks really cool. There was a big deal made about Final Fantasy XIV Online starting this week on March 21st. It's available. It launches, and if you are a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, you can claim the Starter Edition perk for 1 month. So kind of dip your toes in and see if you enjoy Final Fantasy XIV. The Stalker trilogy is coming to console. It's actually already out. It's been out for 2 weeks. That was a cool little announcement. And then for me, the absolute biggest announcement of the day, I think the biggest announcement for a lot of people, the Persona 3 Reload expansion pass is free with Xbox Game Pass.
Man, I wonder how much that costs to get that.
It is. So some details about this. This is a $35 expansion pass, which is insanely overpriced. That's the Atlas tax.
Mm-hmm.
And that is for costumes, background music, and of course the main attraction, Episode Aegis. Mm-hmm. Episode Aegis is coming out in September 2024. That is, of course, the content previously known as The Answer. A beloved continuation of Persona 3's story by some folks. Other folks completely and totally hate it. I am very ready to see this. It was kind of baffling that it wasn't included with the main game, even as like an alternate scenario after you complete the game. Very cool that this is not just one of those, it's a part of Game Pass and you have to play it on there. This is a perk that is already claimable on your Game Pass Ultimate perks because the background music and costumes, I believe, are already available. You can claim this now, and it is yours to keep forever. You have to claim it by January, I believe. So probably by the delisting date of Persona 3 Reload on Game Pass. It's roughly, I think it delists on like January the 30th. So that's a couple days before it'll leave Game Pass. They seem to get a year-long deal on these. That like you just said, I would love to know how much money they had to back up for this.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that that just reinforces the partnership that they have, not just with Sega, but in particular with their RPG studios, with RGG and Atlas. Now they had the marketing for Infinite Wealth. They have done a lot with the Persona series over the last 20 months. There was a lot of speculation growing this week that on I think it was the Direct Xbox podcast, they were talking Persona 6 a little bit. That it sounds like it is coming to all platforms right away. None of this delayed, timed exclusivity nonsense. And that it may very well have marketing locked up by Xbox. So definitely going to keep an eye on that. That for the record, that is my way too early prediction for the June showcase. Is that's the one more thing. I think that's just they've shown they want to show off multiple Atlas games at these shows.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit surprised that we got the expansion pass now and not as one of the things in the summer showcase. But I'm also like low-key really glad that they did it here. This was the big draw. This big draw was right smack in the middle of the show. What else do we have? Nexon has an action RPG called The First Berserker Kazan. That looks kind of cool. It's a mixture of hack and slash and puzzle solving. Tales of Kinzara Zhao. I've been looking forward to this game since we got it revealed at the Game Awards.
Yeah. I wonder how bummed they were when, or maybe excited because of Prince of Persia, right? Because like Prince of Persia got announced a couple months before that, or like a month before their reveal, and like they're basically making that a similar style of game. But also, I wonder if people who like Prince of Persia are looking for another experience and that's closer. So I wonder.
I mean, this looks awesome. Believe it or not, I believe this is being published by EA.
I know.
As like one of the originals, kind of like how Joseph Ferris is set up under them.
Yeah.
But it is the debut title from Surgent Studios, and it's the personal project from Abubakar Salim. I hope I pronounced his name correctly. Who is known for voicing Bayek in Assassin's Creed.
Ooh.
Yeah, and this comes out April 23rd. So I'm pretty excited for this. This is also, I believe, this is like a $20 or $30 title. I don't think it's like massively expensive. It is a Metroidvania as well. So
yeah.
If you did not see the reveal of it at the Game Awards, definitely go and take a look at that. It was a really great reveal, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
We have one fun. God, my page is refreshing right now. All of this is being pulled from Eurogamer, by the way. They compiled this whole list. We had two more. Frostpunk 2. It's coming the PC July 25th, and it is coming to Game Pass right away. That's great news for those who like the first one. And then not Onimusha.
Yeah. I never remember the name of the game. I just know it's
Nitsugami.
Not Onimusha.
Nitsugami Path of the Goddess is coming later this year to Series X and S and will be on Game Pass day one. This is a brand new IP from Capcom. It was revealed during the summer showcase last year. Finding inspiration in Japanese folklore mythology, the game tasks you with battling deadly beasts and rebuilding your village.
This game looks awesome.
I think this looks great.
Yeah. Looks awesome.
If this wasn't if we didn't have the Persona 3 announcement, this would probably be my biggest thing out of the show. But I think this is really, really cool. I think this is really special. This was definitely a better partner direct than the first one they did last year.
Yeah.
The one I think they did it like in October last year. It didn't feel good. This one definitely felt much more refined.
Yeah. Yeah, it was it definitely felt I think the pacing was better. I think the games they showed off were just the quality was higher and more frequent. So I think I agree with you. This was way better. So.
Yeah, the only thing that I could think of from the last one was Like a Dragon. They showed like 20 minutes of that thing.
Yeah. Yeah, but even then it was like, I don't know. I feel like 20 minutes is almost too long for like a presentation. Like maybe that's like a different video, you know? That would be my only thing, I think. But
yeah, it was fun. This was fine. This was a crisp, like 30-minute show. It was very much like a state of play.
Mm-hmm.
So I was okay with that. I liked that it just, I don't know, it just felt more refined this time. Last time they showed the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. I actually forgot about like literally everything on here. They had some Alan Wake 2 stuff, Like a Dragon, Ark Survival Ascended, Manor Lords, RoboCop, Still Wakes the Deep, Dungeons of Hinterberg, Spirit of the North 2, The Finals, and I think that was it. Yeah. So, like, it wasn't, I guess it wasn't bad. It's just like, okay. I don't know. The show felt tighter this time to me.
Yeah.
Maybe you didn't have like as many like AAA games, but it felt like there was a wide variety of stuff for people to enjoy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Man. Good direct. Man, I forgot that. Man, that feels like so long ago.
I kept trying to say that I thought that it happened in like February, and it didn't.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, Josh, speaking of games coming to platforms, I don't know. That was a terrible transition, but we're going with it. 4 titles have officially made the jump to other platforms, Josh. Grounded, Sea of Thieves, Hi-Fi Rush, and Pentiment are all on the move.
Pentiment's already there. Hi-Fi Rush is there as of today. And Sea of Thieves, I believe, is coming at the end of April to PlayStation. Apparently, I don't know when Grounded is. I don't know off the top of my head when Grounded is.
I think Grounded is only coming to Switch right now.
I'm looking real quick. Nope, it's coming to everything.
Is it? Okay. Well,
yeah, it's coming to everything. April 16th.
Sea of Thieves, though, man.
Sea of Thieves is the big one.
It's like the highest pre-ordered game on PlayStation right now.
Yeah, that doesn't really shock me. Like it's been pretty well regarded for a few years now as like, man, if you have an Xbox and you're into multiplayer games, you need to be playing this.
Yeah.
You gotta remember there's also 2 massive free expansions that have happened in this game so far.
Yeah.
With the Pirates of the Caribbean and Monkey Island. I would not be shocked now that this is multi-platform, would not be shocked to hear about another free expansion at some point this year. I'm not saying it's going to be at the summer showcase, but this maybe is something you announce at like a Gamescom, or maybe you save it for a Keighley show.
Yeah.
It could be the long-awaited, rumored something or other about One Piece. That feels like the next natural
pirate thing.
Yeah, that feels. I mean, like, listen, you're pretty limited. Like pirate crossovers, okay? Like you're a little
Skull and Bones crossover.
Family-friendly, non-failed IP crossovers. You're a little limited. I feel like One Piece is like the next one that you do. If Skull and Bones wasn't a thing, then I'd be like, yeah, I mean, maybe you try and like get a Black Flag crossover or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which I'm not saying like that's like ruled out or anything. It's just at a certain point, you got like all these companies got to be kind of cool with their shit being in the same game. With Monkey Island and Pirates, at least they're both owned by Disney.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably watch. I'm sitting here like hoping and praying for One Piece. It's going to be like fucking Peter Pan or something. Captain Hook's going to be running around, which like low key fighting Captain Hook as a pirate lord would be kind of cool. I'm not going to lie, but it would feel really goofy in the Sea of Thieves world, I think. Whereas, like, I feel like anime pirates, like, because they've made these expansions to be standalone, like, that would work so good.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm just crazy. But, like, there's also never been, like, a good One Piece game. Like, really never been a good Pirates game either. Like, hey, if anyone can handle it, I think it's rare.
Man, I'm trying to think of other, like, pirate IP. There's not much.
There's not a lot that I can think of off the top of my head. I'll put it that way.
Let's see.
I'm sure we are missing somebody, and it's bothering me that I can't remember.
Yeah. I just looked up Pirates IP, and it's giving me all these things to go hack things. I'm like, don't want that.
Hey, let's call up Sid Meiner. Sid Meiner made Pirates. He made a Pirates game. I don't know.
I wouldn't put it past them to do that, actually, probably at some point.
That actually would be kind of cool. I'm not going to lie. When I look at the games that are coming to other platforms, I mean, first of all, we said this when they announced it. This is not the first time. This is the first time it's happening. It's certainly not going to be the last. They're going to see what the numbers tell them, and they did it with 4 like relatively low risk games, like Pentiment. Okay, fine. That's a super niche game. I do find it very funny that everyone who's like playing it for the first time on like PlayStation and Switch is like, God damn, this is a great game. Like, yeah, it was arguably my game of the year it came out. It's a phenomenal game. It's Obsidian and Josh Sawyer. Like, what'd you expect? I think it's like the latest in the argument of just because you're a AAA studio doesn't mean you only have to make big budget games. Mm-hmm. There are room for niche games and for genre games, and like Obsidian, 2 of Obsidian's games are a part of this, right? With Grounded and Pentiment both kind of living out that philosophy. Grounded definitely has great numbers, but has certainly hit a wall in terms of the engagement you can get out of Xbox and PC. It coming to Switch and PlayStation, it's going to get a whole second life.
Yeah, I feel like Grounded is very niche anyway. Like, I mean, I know survival games are big, but like, I don't know. I still view those types of games as kind of like the people that are really into survival games are really into survival games, and it's really hard to get people that aren't into survival games into those types of games, right? And so,
I guess I'm interested to see if they're going to tell us how well it sells on PlayStation and Switch, because I feel like, especially if you're going to put out a survival game that's like family friendly, it's got to be on the Switch.
Yeah.
Just because of the install base alone. I'm not saying like, oh, Xbox can never put something out like that themselves. Like they own Mojang, for God's sake, right? Like, right. But we saw that like Minecraft Dungeons, while it did really good on Xbox, it sold better on the Switch because that's a family console.
Yeah.
On Xbox, you were just playing it on Game Pass. As of December 2022, so that was about 2.5 years after launch, I guess, because it launched summer 2020 in early access. The game had attracted more than 15 million players. That's both through paid and through Game Pass. That's a huge success.
Yeah.
That's huge. Yeah. No matter how you slice it, that's huge. Because I remember like when it went into early access, nobody expected it to sell the way that it did on Steam.
Right.
It sold really, really well on Steam. It was top of the Steam charts for quite a while. It just, it was early access, so it was kind of bare bones. I think they developed a really great story with it. I need to go back and play through more of it. So that makes a lot of sense. Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush, though, are like 2 experiences that are like, they're kind of the same coin. Like, flip it around. Like, okay, Pentiment is this amazing game that's really niche. Hi-Fi Rush is a niche experience that I feel like should still appeal to more people. Mm-hmm. And on top of that is one of the most like graphically gorgeous games of the generation, I think.
Yeah.
With its, cell shaded style and like the unique movement, like the combat happening to the beat is really, really cool. I'm so glad that PlayStation players are going to get to experience this game. Like, low key, this is coming to Switch too. Let's not even beat around the bush.
We're
going to keep this. This will be a launch game for Switch too.
Great. That's a great launch game.
It's a phenomenal launch game. I will buy it when it comes to Switch. I will buy this. I will buy this game.
Yeah, I will too.
I am really happy that for Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, and I guess those are the only 2 right now. I don't know if they're doing one for Grounded. Also, they partnered with Limited Run to do physical copies of these games.
Yeah,
for all 3 platforms. I thought that was really neat too. Sea of Thieves is undoubtedly like the most intriguing one here to me. It has the biggest established player base. It continually brings in players, and it's a money factory for Xbox at this point. But they had to have realized they hit the wall. I mean, they hit the wall a while ago, and like, oh well, we're going to inject it. This is the one where I think this is going to be the big one on PlayStation. Whereas I don't think Grounded's going to be nearly as big on PlayStation. I think that one's going to be big with the Switch crowd. This one is only coming to PlayStation, and like with good reason. I'm sorry, like Nintendo's online infrastructure is just not friendly for a game like this.
It's not. You're telling me. Look, you.
So I'm very excited to see how this does on PlayStation with it getting another injection of life. When I first played this game when it came out, I thought it was going to be closing up shop within 18 months. This game was so bad at launch, and it has just been so good since.
Yeah, it's been man. I mean, yeah, I can't believe how they turned it around. To be honest with you,
I can't either. I really can't. I played it when it first came out. I hated it. I came back 2 years later during the pandemic. The 2-year anniversary was going on, and I played it with friends, and I was like, oh my god, this game is so, like, it's a completely different game from what I played.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh yeah, like basically the anniversary update that they did for year one was like kind of there were turning points before that, but that was like the big turning point, turning it into what it is now. And they've just continued to build on like those styles of updates. They introduced the tall tales. They I don't remember if it was that summer or the next, I think it was summer 2021 is when they announced the Pirates crossover. And that was huge. And like, they make sure that you remember this game exists every single summer showcase, even if it's just like a 45-second trailer. They make sure you know it exists because it's become such a big IP for them. Which I don't even think Rare thought it was going to be that big, but here we are. We're going into year 6. As of Wednesday, this game is 6 years old.
Oh my god, dude, that's nuts. That's crazy. 6, man. Yeah, I guess.
Yep. And kudos to Rare. Rare loves working on this game from everything that I've read. They love working on this game. They think it's great. Kudos to them, man. I think this is great.
Yeah, I think I'm happy that Rare has found some sort of success in this because it didn't look like it at first.
It's funny because we saw the previews for it and we were like, man, this game looks super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then it comes out and it's dog shit.
Yeah. But I think the big question that we had as Destiny players was like, okay, what's the progression look like? And then they came out and kind of said, well, there isn't really any level based things, right? It's all kind of, you go out with your friends and it's about the adventure, not the leveling up. And the end goal is like, okay, well, if you level up, you get to go be the pirate king or whatever, right? What was it called? I forget what it was called, but it was like
Pirate Legend. Pirate
Legend. You're right. And then we're like, oh, okay, that might be interesting. And then like you get into the game and there's like really nothing to, like, there's no quest line or anything. You just kind of go on, you find these maps and you go on adventures, right? And it was like, I don't know. I feel like this still needs some structure, and then they've implemented it, and then they've put cool things like we've already talked about. And I'm so happy that this game turned around.
So I want to read some sales statistics that have been compiled. And I mean, I don't have any sources I'm not going to read out all the sources, but this is like compiled under commercial performance on the wiki page for it. 8 days after launch, Microsoft declared the game as the fastest selling new IP released for the Xbox One, beating out the previous holder, Quantum Break. Rare attributed the game's success to the title releasing for Game Pass subs at launch, which enabled the game to achieve Rare's sales target for 3 months within a single day. Game Pass contributed to half of the game's sales, though Microsoft added the game sold well in both retail and digital formats. By August 2018, it had passed 5 million players. In January 2020, Rare declared the game was the most successful IP Microsoft has released this generation, with it having amassed more than 10 million players. It was also very popular with viewers, the title being ranked as one of the most watched titles on Twitch in 2019. The game launched on Steam in June 2020. By July 2020, it would top 15 million players across Steam and Xbox. Blah, 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 blah. On Steam, 5 million units have been sold as of December 2021. That is, I mean, 5 million is probably better than they ever dreamed of for this game on Steam. And that was 2 years and some change ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the last time that we got an update. The last one that's on here is in the 2022 Xbox Games Showcase trailer for Sea of Thieves Season 7. Microsoft announced the game had reached over 30 million players. And of course, players is different than sales, but still, like, when you've got a game with the business model of Sea of Thieves, like, people even just like logging in, and like even if they're playing on Game Pass, like, those people are encouraged by microtransactions. Like, everyone wants the Pirates of the Caribbean cosmetics, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then they've done well to make the cosmetics they do for like Halo, Banjo-Kazooie, Gears, Ori, etc. all look like they belong in that universe, aka not like Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been
but
really
you don't
cool.
like the Ghostbusters crossover, Josh?
I do not like the Ghostbusters crossover. I think the Ghostbusters crossover is shit. I think it's very cool. I would also like to know why this game is not ever nominated for Best Ongoing Game or Community Support, because this game has both of, like, some of the best in both categories. I'm just saying, like, this is like a No Man's Sky level of turnaround that this game had.
Yeah.
And, like, it's become beloved, so it makes a lot of sense. Microsoft sees this as a big IP going forward. This will be the first time a Rare game has ever come to PlayStation.
Yeah, I read that stat and I was like, I guess that makes sense, because I mean, if you're owned by Nintendo and then you sell to Microsoft, like, why would they ever be, because the people that left, like the people that wanted to make multi-platform games went and worked on Time Splitters, right? And so clearly not Rare. So yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense, but it shocked me, but then it didn't at the same time. So
still I'm interested to see where we go from here, because there are a lot of, I would say, opportunities for Xbox to put other games on. I think the most common sense one that we all think of is, or at least where my mind immediately goes with the tech, we just got done making fun of PSVR 2, but Flight Sim. Flight Sim already works with some VR headsets. Why not make it compatible with VR 2 and put it over there? Like, if you're crying over these games going to other platforms, one, shut the fuck up. Two, you're going to make a big deal about, like, Pentiment and Flight Sim going to another platform? Really?
Yeah.
Flight Sim feels the most obvious of the existing IP. That feels the most obvious to go to PlayStation. And I think that, I mean, if we're already hearing word that, Hi-Fi Rush is going to go to Switch 2. The other game I think is going to be a launch game is Psychonauts 2.
Oh, yeah, man. That'd be great.
Because it's so weird that, like, we all thought it when it came out, like, it's kind of weird Psychonauts isn't coming to Switch. And then it was like, well, Microsoft probably didn't want to invest any more money until they knew how this was going to go over. That console, though, that is the crowd that is going to buy this game.
Yeah.
Not that Xbox fans didn't play it. It was very well received. It was played It was played well. It sold decently on both Xbox, PlayStation, and Steam. The Switch, like, even if it's just coming to Switch 2, that is going to have longevity.
Yeah.
We forget so often how, like, if you only play platformers, you're probably only playing on Nintendo. No one else really makes platformers these days.
Yeah, I mean, what was the last major one on another console? Ratchet and Clank, I guess.
Ratchet, yeah. I mean, that was 2 years ago. So
yeah,
Ratchet and Clank, Sackboy, Astrobot. Like, Sony has those franchises. Microsoft also owns a few. They just refuse to make them for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I would say that's that one. I wouldn't be shocked to see the Battletoads game ported to Switch. But maybe if it had been received better. I don't think that, like, it wants to be seen as like, oh, Microsoft's dumping, like, garbage games now. Like, they've set themselves such a high mark with bringing these 4 games over, all 4 critically acclaimed, 3 of them absolutely beloved by the wider community, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm kind of leaving, like, Pentiment out on that, because that's such a niche game. But if you love RPGs, this was an incredible game. The other one that I would say, and I don't think it's not going to come right away, but I definitely, like, once, like, DLC support for it wraps up, I 100% think that The Outer Worlds 2 will be one of those.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The first one, of course, was on Xbox and PS4, and Phil's been asked over the years, hey, is this going to come to PlayStation? And he's like, oh, I don't know, I don't know. Like, that feels like something, like, they probably won't put it out there in the first, like, 18 months, but once you get near that 2-year mark,
Yeah.
I would expect it to come.
Yeah, so I was listening to a podcast the other day, and what I was hearing, I mean, it was a theory, right? Is like, okay, well, if Xbox is really going to start bringing these games to PlayStation at some point, right?
Yeah.
Like they were talking about Starfield, for example, right? Not saying that it's going to come, but if it were to go, they would maybe put the DLC out on Xbox and then release some sort of Game of the Year edition on both platforms at the end of the year or something for whatever, right? So that's kind of what, like, their theory. Like, once the game's kind of DLC cycle was over or partway through, they would release some sort of package across the board. And then, like, the base game would stay on Game Pass, and what Microsoft's been doing, right? We'll sell you the DLC if you for a discount if you're a Game Pass subscriber or stuff like that.
Yeah, I'd be a little surprised if they don't bring some of these other games to other platforms. I mean, of course, like, and we don't want this to be like the topic that dominates the conversation, right? Because like Phil has also made it clear, like, we're not going to bring everything to other platforms. So like my theory for the longest time was, well, maybe Bethesda and like Activision Blizzard games go, but like probably those games that are like made internally, like by Xbox Game Studios teams, are probably safe. And then that theory went out the window when they made the announcement. So
yeah, I would say the big four are probably safe, which would be Forza, Halo, Gears, and Fable. I think those are the four that would. I think if you see any of those kind of move over, I would start ringing some bells, but maybe.
Yeah, I think the alarm bells for me would go off if they were doing that, or like things from like mainline Bethesda were going.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even think it's like necessarily like a huge alarm bell if like Starfield goes over eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't. I don't really want to see it happen. Like, there needs to be a wide enough window. Like, I'm saying, like, the window to put things on other platforms need to be as like fucking wide as Sony putting their stuff on PC.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, you're gonna get stuff, but you're gonna wait a few years. Like, existing franchises. That's the only reason why I bring up the Outer Worlds. It's an existing franchise. But then you go down the slippery slope of, well, what about Doom? What about Wolfenstein? What about Elder Scrolls and Fallout? And of course, the one that's kind of looming right now, Hellblade.
Mm-hmm.
Those are ones that I think, like, okay, they're probably going to be a little bit touchier about it this gen. Next generation, I'd expect there to be some more blurred lines.
Yeah.
But it really is it's going to depend on how the industry shakes out over the next year or two. I think for right now, like, if this was all you got this year on other platforms, I would not be surprised. I do think that Flight Sim is the next one. I would put that in Sharpie right now.
Would you say 2024, Flight Sim 2024, or just Flight Sim?
See, now that's the caveat of, well, if you put like the Flight Sim that's currently available out there, like, who's going to want that?
Yeah.
Like, but if you put 2024 out there, again, it's like, I don't know, like, it's just not a huge game for console. Like, if you're playing that, you want to play that on a nice rig, on a monitor. Like, don't get me wrong, it looks gorgeous on my OLED, but I don't want to sit there for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Playing Flight Sim. But the people who are into it, I'm totally here for it. I'm glad if you're into it. I do think Flight Sim will be the next one, whether it's this year or next year. It's going to be Flight Sim.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really think of another game right now that they've put out in recent memory that I'd be like, yeah, like Psychonauts 2. Psychonauts 2 for the Switch would be the other one.
Yeah.
And again, like, nobody should be surprised by that. That game has been out for it by the time Switch 2 comes out. That game will have been out for 3.5, going on 4 years.
You think they would release a bundle with 1 and 2?
Possibly. I know the rights for 1 are really weird.
Are they?
Yeah. So that was the first one was made by Majesco.
Right.
And I mean, even the VR spinoffs have never been released for anything other than PlayStation.
Right.
So I don't know how any of the rights work for that stuff.
Well, Majesco is also like defunct now, right?
Yes. That's why I'm saying, like, I don't know who ended up with the rights to the original Psychonauts, because I imagine if Microsoft could have done an upgraded version, they would have made a big deal out of that going into 2.
Yeah.
Anyways, this is your PSA. Go play Psychonauts 2. It's great. It's probably the best platformer of like the last 4 years.
All right, so I'm reading this thing on Psychonauts. So Psychonauts, developed by Tim Schafer and Double Fine Productions, published by Majesco Entertainment. Later, Double Fine acquired the Psychonauts license from them.
Interesting. Okay. So we basically just need Phil Spencer to like get off his ass.
Yeah. It looks like they acquired the rights to Psychonauts when Majesco, like right before Majesco shut down and declared bankruptcy, and they were trying to get back some of that money to make up some money for that. So,
yeah, that would be my guess at this point. But I don't know. That's an interesting scenario to keep our eye on.
Yeah. Like a Psychonauts collection for launch of like Switch 2 or something with Hi-Fi Rush. Oh man, got our portable Xbox, Josh. Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't stand you.
I know, it's okay.
All right. And do we have any other predictions of things that'll come to other platforms?
I mean,
I don't really have anything right now. Nothing that we know about.
Yeah, I don't have anything off the top of my head at this point.
I do think they're going to genuinely be careful with this at first.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I think they picked the right games. To be honest.
Yeah.
So. All right, Josh, let's move on to this next story. It's not like a huge story, but it's an interesting story, so I wanted to talk about it. A Star Wars Battlefront modder has found further evidence that the Classic Collection that was just released is using their mod, despite Aspyr promising it wouldn't.
This thing has been such a catastrophe.
Yeah. This is nuts.
I didn't want to rain on anybody's parade when this got announced a couple weeks ago, but I was like, as soon as I saw who put it out, my excitement went completely out the window. We have made fun of Aspyr for a very long time on podcasts. Their mishandling of the Star Wars IP needs to be studied.
Oh my gosh. Remember when they promised the Knights of the Republic 2 they were going to finish it first?
I do remember that.
And
I remember the shoddy ports they done of every other game. I remember they got the Knights of the Republic remake taken away from them.
Yeah. And now it's with Saber.
Which is not much better, by the way.
No. Saber's good at porting games. They're not great at developing, in my opinion.
This is going to be bad. It's going to be bad. This was such a catastrophe, though. Like, they only had, 3 servers online or something.
Yeah.
For an online-only game, you cannot play this locally.
Yeah.
You have to be online for it.
Which is ridiculous.
It's absolutely bonkers. So, yeah, just what a catastrophe. I'm only imagining what's going through John Drake's mind right now over at Disney Games.
Oh, I know.
How mad he must be over this.
Yeah.
Just what an absolute catastrophe. And then and then the modding story on top of that is just that is the cherry on top of the shit sandwich that they've had for the last 4 or 5 days.
Yeah. I'm still shocked that Aspyr still gets to make or port these games.
They had to have had some long contract that Disney can't get out of.
Yeah. I mean that would be the only thing, right? I mean
that's the only reasonable explanation that I have.
Did they do the Dark Forces remaster?
No.
I didn't think so. Yeah. I mean that seems to be pretty decent. So which by the way, that game sure is Doom with a Star Wars mask.
I fucking love it. I fucking love it though. I don't care what anybody says. It is absolutely delightful. I love Dark Forces.
I guess I didn't really know what kind of game that was, to be honest with you. I thought it was one of them weird 3DO stop motion games, or FMV games, I guess, but it's not. It's totally Doom.
Yeah, it's funny. I played it as a kid and I really loved it, and it is. It's not great, but it's been really, really cool to see it coming back. Night Dive Studios is who made this one, the remake,
right.
And they've done a lot of remasters over the years, including the Quake ones for id.
Yeah.
So they've worked on that and a lot of Turok remasters.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I guess they handed it to a good studio. I'm very excited to see how this goes, though. I want to play this really badly. Not for $30 though.
No.
This is something that, like, when it's like $10-15, I'm absolutely buying it.
Yeah, I think in like a year or 6 months or to a year, it'll be on one of them sales. It's like $8.99 and be like, yeah, perfect. Give it to me.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Spire. Come on, guys.
What an absolute just train wreck of a release.
Yeah.
This should be the final nail in the coffin for anybody ever getting excited for this studio.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, once they mess up the KOTOR 2 kind of DLC situation, and then the train wreck that was the Knights of the Republic remake, like I was like, nah, I'm done. I don't care.
Yeah, it makes me really happy that I play on Xbox, where I've gotten everything just like via backwards compatibility. So like I'm playing the actual original Xbox versions.
Yeah.
For the most part, or I can just like buy a disc if I find it, and that just makes me incredibly happy.
Yeah. All right, Josh, let's move on to this PlayStation 5 Pro specs story from Insider Gaming. Seems like this console is coming sooner rather than later.
It's coming this fall.
And this kind of puts Xbox in an awkward position, which we were kind of talking about before the show started. What do you?
Yeah, we kind of talked about it at the top of the show too. Like, this just, if they do put this out and Microsoft doesn't have an answer this year, then that's, I wouldn't say disastrous, but you're basically saying you're going to allow Sony to control the hardware market for 2 more years.
Mm-hmm.
And you really can't afford that if you really are intent on, like, and I know like Xbox made a big deal out of it, a lot of fans made a big deal out of it. Well, they don't need to sell boxes. Yeah, you still need to, though. Like, you're still trying to get in people's living rooms.
Yeah,
like,
especially because
it's just you have another avenue though through Windows, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Especially because like Xbox or the Game Pass is, I mean, its biggest growth potential will be on a console, because PC players obviously want to stay on Steam. The sales numbers show that, right? Cloud gaming isn't really growing, right? I mean, I know that they said that their cloud and PC Game Pass growth was in double digits, but that could be 10% or 99%. You don't really know. So
let me float this off of you really quickly, because the story from Insider Gaming says that it's tentatively planned for this fall, but it could shift because they don't have any major first-party games lined up for this year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that, Tom Henderson over at Insider Gaming has reported on. Jeff Grubb has talked about it. Like, they don't have anything planned for the second half of this year.
Mm-hmm.
And they really didn't have much in the first half. They're really lucky to Helldivers was as good as it was, honestly.
Yeah. And Final Fantasy VII, though, helped quite a bit, too, I think.
It does, but also, like, think about how much they had to pay for those rights.
Fair. Yeah.
Like, that is probably the most expensive exclusivity deal in history at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's particularly close. So, my guess would be this gets delayed and releases alongside Death Stranding 2. Which sounds like it's probably a first half of next year game. I would not be shocked. Nintendo has proved you can launch a console whenever you want.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, PlayStation is the market leader. They can release it and the fans will come.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you want to get it out there next year with Death Stranding 2. Like, okay, cool. The super fans are going to buy it. That allows you to restock as you're releasing bigger games throughout the year.
I don't know, Grand Theft Auto 6?
That's the other thing. If this launches and it's the only premium console, guess what? That is now the best place to play every single third-party game for the next couple of years.
Yep.
I have to believe Xbox has something in the works, even if they swear they don't.
They have to, man. Like, they have to respond. Like, I don't care.
And also, they have the first-party support for once to back up releasing a console like this.
Right. Especially, like, I mean, you look at Hellblade, like,
oh my god.
Like that photo mode preview they showed, like all those, oh my gosh. Like, I was talking to some people on my other podcast and they thought these were like live action stills.
Yeah, I've seen multiple people say that.
Yeah, I'm like, man.
No. Welcome to a real console. Sorry guys.
Yeah.
Sorry Switch fans.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you guys.
I don't know, man. Mario Kart's pretty realistic.
I fucking hate you. But like just the general specs on this, the ones that I'm interested in, they've got a resolution upscaling solution for this. They've got 2 to 3 times ray tracing is what it's targeting, 4 times in some cases, rendering things on screen 45% faster than the base PS5. I'm not even gonna talk about teraflops. Who fucking cares about that? Support for resolutions up to 8K is planned. And then there's an AI accelerator that's built into this. Supposedly, first-party studios have had access to this hardware since September 2023. Third-party got it in January, and test kits will be available starting this spring that are available or identical to the final product. This has Kojima written all over it, man.
Mm-hmm.
That is like the Death Stranding 2 preview is, aside from Hellblade 2, that is the best looking game I've seen in my entire life.
Yeah, I mean, even that image that like I think Kojima reposted or something of what's her face smoking the cigarette is like the most realistic cigarette smoking I've ever seen in a video game.
And like smoke is like one of the most notorious like hard things to like animate.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. You want some headliner titles to put this out. Like that's going to be a big selling point of Switch 2 is going to be, hey, all your Switch games look and run so good. Tears of the Kingdom finally maybe will run well.
Let's not put the cart too far in front of the horse here, Josh.
That's true. But like I was saying, like
remaster it and release it 5 years later.
I think that Microsoft has the games that would necessitate you can put this out and be like, this is the best way to play our first party lineup. It's going to be headlined by their fall lineup is headlined by an Obsidian RPG, by Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, the next Call of Duty from Treyarch, Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred, and what's that I hear in the distance? I would bet money that Forza Horizon 6 is a day and date release with whatever upgraded Series X comes out.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And I mean, there's no way they don't know about the specs already. This is shoot your shot, put it out there earlier, because then you can say, hey, everything that's coming out next spring is also going to look better on this console and run better.
Yeah.
And you know, I think Sony, like, even if Death Stranding isn't ready next spring, you can bet your bottom dollar that they are going to have this thing in stores ready to go for Grand Theft Auto 6.
Mm-hmm.
They would love nothing more than
to bundle.
Yeah, what if you had a situation where like the first 1 million people to buy a PS5 Pro got Grand Theft Auto 6 as part of it?
Man, what would that cost them though?
I don't know, but I've seen weirder things.
Yeah.
I mean, I bought a PS4 a year after launch, and it came bundled with GTA 5 and The Last of Us. So,
yeah,
I've seen weirder shit.
Yeah, fair.
But to answer your question, it would cost an insane amount of money.
Yeah,
it would cost a stupid and ridiculous amount of money to do something like that. And we don't even know who has the marketing rights for that. We probably won't know that until May or June. I mean, I would say it's all but confirmed it's going to be Sony.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think Microsoft wanted to back up the Brinks truck after they just bought Activision.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm interested to see how this comes. I really want to see if it's coming out, because this sounds absolutely wild.
Yeah.
The most important thing, if you're going to do these new consoles, though, is that you're gonna have to, like, these consoles need to be targeting consistent 60 frames at 4K. That's the biggest thing. If these consoles can do that, they're gonna sell like hotcakes.
Yeah, the 60 frames has proven to be
the way to play games.
Yeah,
like, I'm fine with certain games not having the 60 frames, but like, I cannot fathom playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth in anything other than 60 frames. I tried playing it at 30 for the 4K textures. Oh my dude, it's so fucking slow. I can't do it.
Yeah,
I absolutely cannot. It's gorgeous, but I cannot do it.
Yeah, it's rough.
It's rough, but in 60 frames, it is one of the smoothest, most gorgeously flowing games I've ever seen.
Yeah, and if they can get that running, like you said, at 4K 60, and like I understand like the performance modes and the graphics modes are all going to be there for these consoles, but like if you can get back to not having that issue at all, right? Like having people go in and have to fit and you play with settings and stuff, like if you can just that would be the ideal situation, right? So 60 frames, 4K, textures, ray tracing, all of it. Just get it all in there.
Get it all in there. And I think like that would also be a way to prolong this generation. We all know that that's why the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X came out. But in reality, it's almost like the consoles that we got in 2020 should have come out in like 2018. And it's weird because like technology, I think also like they built these consoles to try and be future proof, and then just like Nvidia and AMD and like all these companies made these huge leaps after the consoles were already announced. I mean, we were in the 30 series and now we're like already up to the 50 series with Nvidia cards, right?
Yep.
And it's bonkers, and the Steam Deck wasn't a thing at the time, and now so like everybody's having to pivot their strategies. There's been talk, I think who was it? I think Jez was talking about it, where like the next Xbox, he like sees it being like a hybrid approach. Like they like the idea of, a premium console, but also having like the portability factor. And so like maybe the Series S doesn't exist in the future, but like their version of a Steam Deck does. Which by the way can't happen until they figure out how to fix Windows OS for portable, because that's the major thing holding back like the ROG and the Legion Go.
Yeah.
So supposedly Jason Ronald's team is working on that. I don't know how much I believe that one based on who came out and said it, but I'm going to choose to be a little optimistic on that front.
Yeah, I would say Jason Ronald has to be involved in some capacity regardless, right? I mean,
he's basically the platform director at this point, so
yeah. So do you have anything else to say on this? I think it would I think it would be a mistake if Xbox didn't at least consider following suit, unless their next gen, quote unquote next gen console was so close, but at that point, like,
dude, it just you just can't. And it's funny because like normally I would probably be like, yeah, you might be able to get away with it. GTA 6 is a year out.
Yeah.
You have to treat that like the event that it is. So that's the only thing that makes me pause and say, that's why I think that there's a console coming.
Yeah.
I think once they had the idea that was going to happen, it was like, well, shit, can we find a middle ground and have the components ready to go? Like, could we maybe even replace like I said, replace the Series S with this?
Yeah.
So now the Series X is the entry one, and like this is the new one,
man.
Or even and like we saw with the PS4 Pro and the and the One X, like, okay, let's eventually like phase out the base version also.
Yeah, man.
Just offer your digital version, offer one with a disc drive or like a detachable drive or whatever.
Yeah,
and let's go. Like that glass has already been broken, so you don't have to be the bad guys here.
Yeah. All right, Josh. Let's talk about some of these mini stories here.
Let's do it.
Hellblade 2 looks incredible in its new photo mode preview. We kind of hit on that already. But Josh, this game looks incredible in this photo mode preview.
It looks wild. I literally cannot look at it anymore because I just want to play this so badly, and we're still 2 months away.
I know, especially because I just replayed the first one. Like I just finished it like a couple weeks ago, maybe. Man, I cannot wait. Oh, it looks so good. Looks so good.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Let's see here. Josh, Sea of Stars has passed 5 million players and is introducing a 3-player couch co-op mode. How do you feel about that?
That's cool. I mean, we knew that DLC was coming for this game. That story DLC was coming. Just a question of like, when will it actually come now?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, how do you feel about like the? I mean, I didn't really see this game as a multiplayer experience, but
I mean, I didn't, but I do know people who are really excited for this. The 3-person co-op games are just weird to me.
Yeah.
I understand 2, but 3 is just a little funky.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you think it's because we grew up in an era where 4 controller ports were like the norm? And so, 2 or 4 players was the norm, and then 3 is just kind of weird.
I would say so. Not just that, but also like I don't know, that's been like the standard for so long.
Yeah.
And just this weird kick got started, like 8-10 years ago with the Division did it and Destiny did it and
Apex does it.
Apex does it, and we're still stuck in this. Like 3 people, like, no, just let me do let me have my option of 1 to 4.
Make some friends.
God, dude, it's just so annoying. Yeah, it's like Jesus Christ.
Speaking of 3s, Josh, Baldur's Gate 3.
Speaking of 3s,
Baldur's Gate 3 receives 3 updates in the same day for Xbox Series X and S for a Xbox specific bug. 3 patches in the same day. Let's see. I don't even remember what the bug was. It doesn't. It just says these are hot fixes. But it's Xbox specific crash bug. So that's interesting. And you can read the patch. There in this article, there's 3 slots for patch notes. I'm not reading them all. I'm not gonna lie. But basically, it's scripting errors and crash, and they've implemented crash blockers and some other things into the scripting. But man, the Xbox version of this game just can't catch a break anywhere. Like, I'm glad it's out, and like 99% of people may not even experience this in some cases, but man, the stories. Oh well.
Yeah, I'm very excited to finally play Baldur's Gate 3. I'm nearing the point where I'll be able to be playing it. So.
Are you going to play it on Xbox or ROG Ally?
No, I'm going to play it on the ROG.
Yeah.
Because all my friends who have played it are on Steam.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I want to be able to play it with friends.
That's fair. That's smart. Smart man, Josh.
Smart.
Speaking of smart, Josh, that was our last story. We're done.
It was. This was a quick show tonight.
It was. I mean, it was still almost an hour and a half.
Still almost an hour and a half.
So, I don't think we had any questions. I didn't really ask for any.
So, no, we didn't ask for any this week.
Yeah.
It might be kind of slow times here until we get closer to Summer Showcase.
Yeah, which is fine, I think, because I mean, Tower Casuals is about to ramp up. So,
oh my God,
you see all the Final Shape boxes.
I'm very stressed.
Yeah,
I'm very stressed. Mine should be shipping here in the next week.
Yeah, I got my email that said that mine's coming soon. So.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Bife already has a video up about the lore book.
Mm-hmm. You see Bife?
I'm excited, man. There's a stream tomorrow about Into the Light. So
yeah, you think? I mean, did you see that Bife has like a 52-page script for Destiny lore? Because he's doing like this whole massive video of the lore up until the final shape.
Yeah, he hasn't updated it in a couple of years.
Yeah.
So.
And it's
that 52 pages is actually shorter than I thought.
Well, that's before Destiny 1. Like, it's lore before Destiny 1 begins. Is 52 pages.
He said that he was tweeting about it today. He said that the lore book here has the oldest lore we've ever gotten in the history of the Destiny universe.
Yeah.
And that people were like, they were asking him specific questions. They were like, back before the garden? And he was like, yes. So that is super intriguing to me.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see how this goes, because that would mean like maybe even the lore predates the Witness.
Yeah.
So that's going to be fascinating. We'll talk more about that on Tower Casuals on Thursday. I am trying to stay spoiler free on most of that stuff until we physically have it in our hands.
Yeah, me too.
Because you and I, like you said, you should have yours here really soon. I should have mine here in the next week or two. and then it's going to be, I'm going to sit down and take like meticulous notes for like 3 days straight, and then it's going to be, hey, here you go, we're talking about this. So
yeah,
I'm very excited based on some of the things I've seen already out of this collector's edition. The emblems look cool.
Yeah.
I'm digging the emblems.
Yeah.
It's going to be good times. It's going to be good times, Corey.
It's going to be good times. Speaking of good times, Josh, we have some good times planned elsewhere. So I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening to this episode of Xbox Casuals. You can catch Tower Casuals every Friday. You can catch this show every other Tuesday. Follow us at Tower Casuals. Josh, thank you for your time tonight as always.
Always.
Where can we find you?
Twitter, at Josh_Finn. You can see me reliving the excitement of the Kyrie Irving game winner from yesterday. I screamed so loud that my neighbors came to check on me.
Well, nice of them. Nice of them.
Have you ever seen the Mina Kimes reaction video when we drafted DK Metcalf? She they're in the middle of discussing the pick before, and then it comes in for DK Metcalf, and she jumps out of her chair screaming, "Yes, I knew it," as loud as she can. Because she's a very, very well-known Seahawks fan, as well as being a senior analyst over at ESPN. That's basically what I did, but like 10 times louder.
Jeez.
Every single angle you see of this game winner is just, sorry to everybody who hates sports. Every single angle you see of this, it's one of the greatest game winners I've ever seen in my life, if not the greatest. Buzzer beater. It just gets better and better. Kyrie grabs it with 2 seconds to go. Left-handed hook jump shot from beyond the free throw line. It goes in. You can see Dirk Nowitzki is sitting courtside with his family. His family is going nuts. He is holding his youngest son tightly because his kid tried to storm the court with the team. And it's absolutely hysterical. Like him and Patrick Mahomes are sitting courtside. Like their reactions to everything are absolutely priceless. Luka he collapsed under the basket. He just like collapsed crying because he couldn't believe it.
Wow.
And the video of him, he goes over, like he walks over. He's not even running. He like kind of like lightly jogs over to the dog pile, which the dog pile that forms at half court. You see Mark Cuban come running onto the court too, which is hilarious.
Wow.
And Luka starts digging through the pile and pulls Kyrie out of the pile and just like walks off hugging him.
Wow.
It's great. It's great. Like, listen, I've had my personal issues with the guy in the past. I think off the court, he has been an absolutely massive distraction for years. But he has been an absolutely model teammate for the year plus that he's been in Dallas. And, man, anyone who thinks that this dude is unhappy here, like, you just need to go watch that game winner. Because he went nuts. Like, him and the team went nuts. God bless America. Stephen A. Smith had to say nice things about us this morning. It was beautiful, Corey. It's beautiful.
Stephen A. Smith. He doesn't have anything.
Stephen A. Smith had to acknowledge that the Dallas Mavericks are rising from the grave.
He doesn't have anything nice to say about anybody. That's fine. Anyways, well, Josh, I'm glad you're experiencing good luck with your basketball team. But as for me, you can find me at I am Corey HD. If you are at PAX East and you listen to this show, I will be there. You can come talk Xbox or Destiny with me. It'll be fun. So yeah. Josh, again, thank you for your time. I appreciate you.
Of course.
Thank you guys out there for watching and or listening. And until next time, we love you. Goodbye.